This time on Monkey Life. It's all change at the chimp nursery.
It's no longer the nursery group anymore, it's just Sally's group.
The squirrel monkeys lose their leader.
She was the dominant member of the group, so it is a bit of a shock for all of them. She kind of led the way a lot of the time.
And Oshine and Silvestre joined at the hip as Jeremy tries to do a weigh-in.
On you get. Come on here. Good girl. Hey, let go of him. Oh, yeah, all right, you can have that, but you can't have him. He's not on.
Monkey World in Dorset is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate unwanted and abused primates from all over the world.
This is always, for me, the most stressful time. I want to see Kiki fit and healthy.
The park is home to more than 240 monkeys and apes from 17 different species. At the chimp nursery, Sally and the gang have got cabin fever. For the last 2 weeks, they've been shut inside because their outdoor enclosure is being extended, and they're now desperate to get out.
They're very fractious. Brian's got little cuts and scrapes here and there because Lulu and Sally have been telling him off. Rodders is bouncing off the walls and driving everybody nuts, and they're at the end of their tether.
Alison has also decided it's time to change the name of the nursery because the group is growing up.
We haven't been having youngsters come into the park that needed rescuing or that have been birth control accidents over the last couple of years. So the youngest chimps that we've got in the park that are in the nursery group are Rodders and Ash, and now they're like 7 years old. So no longer babies. It's no longer the nursery group anymore. It's just Sally's group. It's Sally's troop, really. When the kids grow up, the room needs redecorating, and that's sort of what we've done here. That's Sally saying it's time, it's time.
Sally is first off the blocks, closely followed by Rodders and Brian. They can't contain their excitement. One-armed Lulu follows, and finally, Ash. They're quick to try out the new hoses that have been added to the climbing frame. But it takes them a while to notice a rather large new structure. During the building work, a tree had to be removed, and primate care staff decided to leave it for the chimps. They seem intrigued, but also rather nervous. Ash isn't sure what to make of it. Brian wants to have a closer look, but holds back. Rodders is reticent too. In the end, leader Sally shows them there's nothing to be afraid of. Mischievous Rodders doesn't need any more encouragement. And 8-year-old Brian starts to explore.
Now they've seen they've got an extension, and more interesting, they've got a tree. People are quite happy.
The chimps soon decide it's more fun to wreck the tree rather than climb on it.
They will destroy the tree, and they start ripping bits off, and then we'll just haul them out as they rip them off. Might last a month, or it might last another day, who knows.
Sally arrived at the park in 1993, but didn't get on with other adult chimps, so she was put in charge of the nursery and has proved to be a great adoptive mum. Lulu joined her 7 years later. She used to belong to a circus in Cyprus and lost her arm after her mother attacked her.
necessity is the mother of invention. And if you haven't got an arm, you haven't got an arm, and you either get on with it or you don't. And Lulu got on with it. And Lulu's not disabled particularly by that arm. I can't think that in what way Lulu is disabled by the fact she's lost an arm.
Although Sally is the dominant chimp, Lulu has been a great help to her in keeping control of the youngsters. However, the hierarchy in the group could soon begin to change. Brian is turning into an adult, and as the oldest male in the group, will probably challenge Sally for the leadership.
Physically, Brian has changed enormously. I mean, just look at him, he's grown up, he's having his testosterone flush. Sally still dominates Brian mostly, but we're getting to the point now where every now and again, Brian will turn around and say, no, I don't need this.
It won't be easy for Brian because he doesn't have anyone to learn from. He was rescued from Mexico, where he was being groomed to be a beach photographer's prop.
He's going to have to evolve into being a grown-up with no role model at all. It's going to be a slower process because he doesn't have any teacher, he doesn't have any example to follow, and we can only hope that Brian doesn't have it too tough with a dominant lady like Sally.
Things have finally calmed down, and Rodders has stopped pulling the tree apart.
That could be a good sign that it's gone quiet now. You never know with these. They could be plotting something. Who knows?
Sally's gang aren't the only ones getting a revamped enclosure. Work is also well underway at the Siamang Gibbon house. The fences need to be reinforced and new ropes put up before Sam and his new partner Sasak can be allowed out into the trees.
We are hoping that it's only going to be a month or so and they'll be back outside in the big woodland enclosure that they have. So that'll be fantastic to see them both up in the trees and singing. It'll be amazing.
Sasak has only just arrived from Dublin Zoo, but the two gibbons are already getting on famously and have even started singing together. In the wild, Siamangs live in pairs with their offspring. The male and female gibbons each have individual songs which they sing together as a duet. The team are surprised that Sam and Sasak are singing together so soon.
It's really important with the gibbon species that they sing together. It's a real strong sign of a good relationship, a strong bond between them. It takes a little while for them to actually start singing together, so it's really impressive and special that they're singing already. The fact that both of them have gotten on so well so quickly is a really, really great thing. I mean, they could have just sat there going, oh my God, I'm so scared. But they haven't, they've moved on and it's great.
Another resident who's finally managed to settle in at the park is Max. The Marmoset has been at the centre for 3 years, but has struggled to adjust to life with other monkeys after being brought up as a pet. He's lived with several different groups, but hasn't got on with any of them, until now. As a last resort, he was put in with 16-year-old Betty Boo, the park's oldest Marmoset. And they've clicked.
You wouldn't really expect such a young one and an old one to get on, but we're really pleased that they've actually made a really good bond together and they're getting on really well so far. Betty Boo's really unique here at the park. She's absolutely lovely. I don't know a single member of the primate care staff that doesn't absolutely adore Betty.
But Betty Boo and Max's time together may be limited, as Betty is not only geriatric, she also has a lot of health issues.
Unfortunately, as Betty was kept as a pet, she has undergone a lot of physical problems from this. The main issue that Betty has is that she does suffer from a really severe case of rickets, which means that she finds it really hard to move around. She's quite fragile and quite wobbly on her feet as she does move around. She's also got quite limited eyesight as well now. We think she can probably only just about make out shadows. Luckily, because she's used to this enclosure, she does manage to kind of memorise the layout of it. But when it comes to hand feeding her with things like insects, it does rely a lot on the calling that you do and the shaking of the box. So a lot of it relies on the noise that she can hear. Betty! Come on, Betty! That's it, well done. Good girl. Here you go. Recently, we have noticed that Betty has kind of slowed down slightly. Obviously, it's not come as a surprise because she is so old, but she is spending a lot more of her day sleeping. She has a particular sunspot in the back of her enclosure where she just likes to chill out in the sun when it's coming through the window. She has lost a little bit of weight as well. She is still eating throughout the day, but obviously these are just all kind of signs that she is getting on a little bit in her years.
Max is a handful for Betty, but she seems to have got the measure of him.
She's the only Marmoset here that's managed to tame Max. She manages to keep him in line, and she's just an all-round lovely character.
At the Orang nursery, Jeremy is preparing to weigh Oshine. Since arriving from South Africa over a year ago, the big orangutan has been on a strict health regime as she was clinically obese. She'd been kept as a pet for 13 years and fed an inappropriate diet of sugary treats as well as her normal food.
Come on, gorgeous.
At her last weigh-in, she dropped from 100 kilos to 80. The problem today will be separating her from baby Silvestre, who she now seems to be permanently attached to.
On you get. Come on here. Good girl. Good girl. No, you don't want to. We don't want him on as well. Right, hey, let go of him. 77. Oh yeah, all right, you can have that, but you can't have him. He's not on. We're looking at 76, 77 was the original. When she originally got on, then that makes him 10 kilos, which he looks about right. Looking at him, I would have thought, I think she's 76.
76.
Yeah.
Oshine's been here for just about a year now, and she's lost 25 kilos. So she was 100, she's now 75. That's not bad going. That's a really lovely gradual weight loss over a 12-month period. Any dieter would know that that's just absolutely brilliant.
What? What do you want? What do you want? Snacks. You want snacks? But that's make you fat again.
Oshine's lighter frame has had other benefits too.
Most recently, I've really noticed Oshine moving around a whole lot more easily as well. She's up in the climbing frame, her energy levels are up. Just goes to show that a reasonable, manageable diet and a bit of exercise really is the ticket.
But she's like a slinky now, compared with what she was.
Oshine needs to be fit if she's going to keep up with her new sidekick.
And she is totally mum to Silvestre, and she's probably as protective to him as any mother would be, if not more so than any natural mother would be. It's a two-way thing though, isn't it? Because it's given Silvestre the mum that we promised him, and it's given Oshine the baby that we promised her, with none of that messy bit in between. It's much the best way.
Jeremy tries once again to lure Oshine away from her little buddy so that he can get an accurate weight.
Come on, come play again. We don't want that.
And for a brief moment, Oshine does sit on the scales alone, although she keeps a firm grip on Silvestre. Confirmation that Oshine has lost more weight.
It's improved her physically, she's much healthier. Her periods, along with the birth control implant that we've given her, have made her feel a whole lot better. So Oshine's just had a physical revolution, really. And looking after the little one here is good preparation for someday when we hope that she's fit enough to move on to a mixed group and get pregnant herself. And it's just really lovely to see her doing so well and so happy because, you know, You don't just want them to excel at what they're doing, in Oshine's case being an orangutan, you want them to be happy, and I just couldn't be more pleased for both Silvestre and Oshine. Really good.
Primate care staff are keeping a watchful eye on the squirrel monkeys today because there's been some sad news.
Trying to keep the squirrel monkeys busy and active at the moment, just because unfortunately one of our elderly squirrel monkeys, Alien, passed away. She was the dominant member of the group, the dominant lady, so it is a bit of a shock for all of them. She kind of led the way a lot of the time. She was a real character. She absolutely loved her insects, so whenever you had insects to give out, she was like front and centre, trying to get them all. She really was quite close to the others. Because they're such a small group, they could really kind of look to her. So we want to make sure that they're active and entertained through the day and they're not suffering too much. What we've got is some nice pine cones, something nice and natural, but we've put lots of goodies in there so that they can get their hands in and get all the nice treats that we've put in there, and a few insects in there as well, things they should really enjoy. So hopefully what we're trying to encourage them to do is come up to the ends and reach out for what we've got in the pots and stuff.
Samantha is first on the scene. She's been at the park since 2009 after she was found living in a squalid caravan in East Sussex. When Turvey joins her, she seems happy to hand over the cone and go in search of other goodies. Squirrel monkeys come from Central and South America. They're found in tropical lowland rainforests throughout the Amazon basin. They're very sociable animals living in large groups of between 30 and 60 monkeys. However, without Alien, the small group at the park now numbers just 4. Fidget is the only male. He was rehomed over a year ago, but is still timid around the feisty females.
Fidget seems to be doing really well. Oh, just found a pine cone. He always holds back a little bit to start with, but I'm pleased to see that he's got in there pretty quickly today. A lot of the time he hangs back and he just kind of watches the girls and he waits until the girls are completely gone before he kind of comes and has the leftovers. So the fact that he's got straight in there is really, really good to see. So it shows that he is building his confidence.
Like all primates, squirrel monkeys have a hierarchy, and now that Alien is gone, a new leader will gradually emerge.
There is potential for somebody to step up and take her place. It is normal, obviously, for there to be a dominant member of the group. I think Turvey has the potential to possibly be it. But I also reckon that Samantha could possibly surprise us all. She's just got so much more brave and more confident that she could actually, completely rise up the ranks and take charge of the group, which would be great to see. Topsy's also got a bit of attitude, so she also has the potential as well. I don't think that Fidget's gonna take over, just because obviously the way he's always been, he just doesn't have that confidence over the girls still. So it's anybody's guess, really.
There's happier news at Lavar's woolly monkey house. Primate care staff are putting out extra bark to cushion the floor because there's been an unexpected arrival. Paquita has had a baby, and no one knew she was pregnant.
Woolly monkeys are notoriously difficult to tell when they're pregnant. We can't do pregnancy tests on them because they give us false results each and every time. The only other way we can tell if they're pregnant is if they start to behave a bit differently. We didn't see any of that this time, so we just didn't suspect anything. She didn't put on any weight, and all we can suggest is that she is a bit of a bigger lady, and as the baby's been developing, her fat resources have been getting used up, so the fat has been getting replaced with baby, and that accounts for the weight being maintained.
The leader of the group, Lavar, is the proud dad.
Lavar is our most successful breeding male that we've ever had here at Monkey World. He's fathered 8 babies. He's just, a stud. The Paquita and Lavar we don't often see socialising together, so it's always a shock when Paquita then produces these babies. But he is very discreet. If any mating's going on, we don't often see it. It all goes on behind closed doors and probably at night time when we are not here. So far he's not shown much interest, but that's perfectly normal. Normally the dominant males aren't allowed near the babies until a little while down the road. They are so big and boisterous a lot of the time that it's better for the mums to keep away from them. If they have to do lots of displays, then it's obviously safer for mum and baby to be away from the males when they're doing all these things. So he's not had much to do with the baby yet, but I'm sure he will in due course.
This surprise birth has come as a shock to Paquita's daughter, Isla.
Isla's still very young, she's not even 2 yet, but her life is going to change considerably. She is going to be almost on her own now. She does still have the other members of the group that she can go to for reassurance, but unfortunately she's not going to have as much of mum's attention anymore, which is going to be quite hard for a little woolly monkey to get used to, but I'm sure she will. They all adapt when they get younger siblings. Paquita's just a breeding machine. She just churns them out. She's fantastic. We couldn't ask for anything more from her, especially with the breeding programme. We're trying to get as many babies as possible from all the females that we have here, and Paquita's certainly doing her bit.
Next time on Monkey Life.
Hold him here.
Capuchin Tao's hunched back causes problems in the operating theatre.
For Mike right now, it's a real nightmare to operate in a good position and keep his airflow good.
And Chimp Sammy has to lose weight.
He loves his food, but I guess you could say he's a little greedy, yeah.